Okay, we hold page 26. Page 26, Halacha Dalet Siman Ches. This is what we spoke about yesterday. How you wear a talus. That the front two tzitzis should be in front of you, and the two back ones should be in the back, one on the right, one on the left. Not to gather it and wear it like a shawl. It's not the correct way to wear a talus.
But when we do Shema, we gather our tzitzis.
That's the discussion. I told you the Vilna Gaon didn't gather his tzitzis. He only took the front two, and when you have front two, the right is the right side. They're just touching. Okay. Marze steht tzitzios lefonov. After you wrap yourself, you return the front two tzitzis in front of you, u'shtayim lachrov, and the two back ones are behind you. Why? Kadeshi mesuva b'mitzvos. That you should be encircled with mitzvahs. Right? Because each one of the tzitzis is part of the tzitzis. It's a representation of the mitzvah. It's very interesting. You see the Mechaber later, the Mechaber says, even if one doesn't have a four-cornered garment, you should buy a four-cornered garment with tzitzis. Although you have it's not an obligation. Torah says if you wear a four-cornered garment, you must put tzitzis on it. But if you don't have a four-cornered garment, you have no obligation to put tzitzis. Nevertheless, you should have a four-cornered garment. Why? Because tzitzis is shokol keneged taryag mitzvahs. It's the equivalent of 613. Some say it's very good. So when you wear the tzitzis, the right on the front of you, and the left and back, yesh mesuva b'mitzvahs. Not mesuva b'mitzvahs of tzitzis. Not that you're encircled because you're wearing a mitzvah. You're wearing tzitzis in front and back. Mesuva mitzvahs. What does tzitzis represent? It represents tayag. So therefore, every one of the tzitzis in conjunction, in totality, you're surrounded with all the mitzvahs in their entirety. Right? That's mesuva b'mitzvahs. Okay. Let's see, Dalet. Tzitzios. Now, there's a difference between how do you I have a keen eye for certain things. I see a person davening a certain way. I say, you must be a Chabadska. She says, how do you know? I said, the talis you wear, the tefillin you wear, identifies right away. Chabad talis person don't have it on Torah. Not even the cloth. The cloth color on it. Also, the black stripes are wider stripes. It's a different black stripe than we wear black stripes. Okay? Also, the tefillin they wear are much larger tefillin, which the Mishna Berura says later he discourages you wearing such tefillin. Because if you ever see, I'm telling people, a major Talmidei Chabadskers, the front of the tefillin off their heads. It's not possible to keep the tefillin on their heads. They're not wearing the tefillin properly. Unless they all keep their hand on it to make sure it stays in place. Otherwise, just the weight of the tefillin causes it to go beyond the hairline. Okay? And therefore, Mishna Berura, what?
I'm sure they must have a reason.
But I'm telling you, what Chofetz Chaim says later, that's why you should not wear large tefillin, because it's inevitable they're going to slip out of place, and you're not going to fulfill the mitzvah of tefillin. The tefillin shall rosh it, at least. Tefillin shayat, okay, you're able to. Okay? So he says, Nogu lasus atorah b'chatichas meshel l'simin she'osin tzitzis lefonav yu le'olam lefonav. That's what we spoke about. You wear a talus cotton, and let's say it has a round hole, and you don't have, let's say, some type of ornament in front of the tzitzis versus the back. So how do you know which tzitzis are in front, which tzitzis are in the back? You don't know. So I told you, usually I would take a pen and make a mark on the corner of the tzitzis. I knew which was the front, which was the back. So the front was always the front, the back was always the back. So he said, what do you put a collar on the talus? That you should know which is the front of the talus and which is the back of the talus. That's why the minig is to put a piece of cloth as a collar to identify what's the top, what's the bottom. So therefore you know what goes in the front, what goes in the back. What does he bring it in whose name? Mogad Avram. Okay? L'sim shows that tzitz is fun of you, l'olam l'fon of course. Chazal. Remember I mentioned the name of Ritzi Pesach Frank. Keresh shezocha b'tzofn hoy l'olam b'tzofn. The crushing, the vertical beams in the Mishkan. Whatever beam that was always in the north was always in the north. I thought the beams were marked. It was marked Aleph, Beis, and that's where we learned the laws of writing, that you're not permitted to write on Shabbos. Where did they write in the Mishkan? Right? No, that's what they would mark the beams. That's how they paired them up. Okay? Obekisi Arizal, cause Shloya Rizal Makbid Alzeh. This is probably what the Chabadskis don't have. The Rizal wasn't Makbid. by them, it's not, he was a makbid. I mean, they won't have it. They will not have the collar on it.
I don't understand the reason.
Whatever, they have their reason. Must be al pi kabbalah.
Well, we have the Atara to show us which is top.
But he says, but the Arizal was not makbid on this. It wasn't an issue. He didn't have it.
We go the other way, actually, right? Shabbos talis is usually a silver Torah or something.
If you're a chassid, or you don't know better, you wear a silver Torah.
It's possible that they mix it up. They put the top and the bottom.
Correct,
in there,
correct,
and the
correct,
bottom
correct,
and the
correct.
top. That's the whole thing.
That's the
Yeah,
Mogen
we-
Avram.
that's
That's what the Mogen says. That's why you should have the cloth collar. To understand what's the top, what's the bottom, so the front will always be in the front, and the back will always be in the back, for that reason.
And even more so, right? Some 4 lines of silver.
I have a
5,
talus.
7.
I have a talus. Chaim Kanevsky sent me about 10 years ago. You know, every year Chaim Kanevsky does Reishis Agez. Reishis Agez is they shear sheep, and he takes a certain percentage. There's a certain volume of wool, of fleece, and he gives it to a Kohen. So, and from that wool, they make tzitzis. So the tzitzis of my talus, Shabbos talus, is from that Reishis Agez that he does. He sent me a gift, talus with those tzitzis on it. But factually, it's not, the actual talus is not, it's a very thin talus, and it's sometimes, even though it has a collar, sometimes it's hard to discern. It's a very thin piece of cloth. In the United States, or other talus, it's a thick piece, usually, because there's a backing. It's not only cloth, the way they make it today, there's a backing on it. So the upper part, the moment you just touch it, you know which is the top, which is the bottom. Here you have to be, because it's so thin, even with the collar, you have to actually, look for what the top is. By feel alone, you're not going to know which is the top and the bottom. You have to actually look to see where that thin piece of cloth is to identify it. Okay? Hey.
So the meaning of the silver Torah?
Just Zekilim Havein. Just to beautify the mitzvah.
Right.
That's what it is. I mean, years ago, unless a person was a chassid or came from that kind of background, he did not wear a silver Torah. Today, many people who they don't have any Hasidic background, it's an enhancement of mitzvah. They wear a silver Torah. No, okay. The one who come from real Rebbish, pedigree, not only do they have the top, there's a piece of material usually in the center, even there they have a silver strip going across the back of the talus. Okay?
It's very heavy,
Sure.
among other things.
Okay. It's chaviv. What do you kiss? What do you kiss a mezuzah? What do you kiss a sefer Torah? Why? Chaviv sa mitzvah, to show love for a mitzvah. That's what it is. So sefer Torah, the Mishnah says in Megillah is what? That's tashmisha kedusha. They're inherently holy. A mezuzah is inherently holy. A sefer Torah is inherently holy. A talis is not inherently holy. It's something that you do a mitzvah with it. It's like talis is no different than shofar. The horn that you blow to tekiah, does it have any halach is? You could throw it away. As I said, as long as you dispose of it respectfully, wrap it in paper, throw it in the trash. A talus, you don't have to bury a talus. Right? If let's say you're not able to bury it, you can discard it. As long as you do it respect, put it in a bag, throw it into the trash.
Says anything about a man kissing a man? When we greet each other?
Why do you kiss anybody? It's an indication of affection. That's what it is. Okay? It's interesting. The Mar says in Brochos, in Megillah, and Brochos, says Megillah too, that he admires the Persians in 3 areas. Persians.
Who's he?
This Amora.
Oh, Amora.
Well, for 3 reasons. First thing, when they kiss, they don't kiss on the cheek. They kiss the hand. Why? Because when a person kisses, you have saliva. You want somebody else's saliva on your cheek. You don't want saliva.
Saliva anywhere.
Whatever it is. The hand, okay, your hand touches many things. You wash your hands, but on your face, you don't want somebody else's saliva. And the other is, when they cut meat, they don't cut meat on the hand. Because it's possible, when you cut a piece of meat, you could actually cut into your hand. And when they do their bodily functions, they're very modest. Those are the 3 areas he admires them. Okay? Their ability, butchering, that doesn't speak of what kind of butchers they are. Okay? That doesn't talk about. So I'm just saying kissing. Embracing is one thing, you know, you can embrace a person. But to kiss, that's another level. Okay?
No, but you're not to embrace another Jew in shul.
It's a Ramah later. The Ramah says, it says you're not to kiss.
No, not to kiss.
It says kiss.
You're not to embrace.
Kiss. You can even kiss your own child in shul.
No, I thought specifically kissing your child is the person that you're not supposed to. You're supposed to kiss.
You're not supposed to show affection for anybody in shul other than Hashem. It's considered a disrespect. So there's a story of Gifta. He had a very special Talmud. The man passed away. He himself was 80 years old. True. Great Talmud Chacham. And Gifta kissed him in the Beis Medrash. So somebody came up and said, how do you kiss him? How do you kiss your Talmud in the Beis Medrash? He says, you're permitted to kiss the Torah. Therefore, that's why. So showing affection, I'm kissing him because of what? Because of what he represents. It's not as a human being. Right? No, so that's what he said.
Kissing another Jew, sometimes you can say Torah.
Sometimes. Okay? Okay. David, you can speak louder. Okay. Mevorich lesativ b'tzitzis. The text of the broch is lesativ, to wrap yourself. Im shnayim o shloshim esatim b'talus kachas. What if we have three people putting on the talus simultaneously?
The same one?
No, each one's putting on their own talus, but they're all putting on at the same time. Pirush b'pamachas, kulam mevorchim. Each one has a right to say his own bracha. Even if you say, well, one could be mostly the others, they're all putting at the same time, but one say the bracha, Shemei Koneh. Why say three? You say maybe it's unnecessary. Everyone has a right to say a bracha on his own talus. One doesn't have to cover the other. Vim rotzu, but if they want, echad mevorech v'acher yanu amin. If they want, one says the bracha, and the others answer amin, sufficient. That's Shemei Koneh. It's perfectly okay. And we'll see in a moment. Maybe it's even in a certain way has a greater value. Barov Hamad Melech. Okay, we'll see. Mishna Berura. No. Either everyone says his own bracha. No, but here you're being motzi, not you walking around. One person says the bracha, and others answering amin, right? Right before they wrap themselves. So that means that's the equivalent. They said the bracha. After you say the bracha, then you wrap yourself. Okay? Now this is very important. This is important. Most people, when they say the bracha lesatif, especially if you come from a Hasidic background, they say lesatif bat tzitzis. They emphasize the patach under the base. Ba. Mishna Berura says you should say bi with a shvur. Sati bit tzitzis. That's more correct. I all the years. Radically, it's grammar. It's a grammar issue. One is. We'll see. We take the Mishna Berura. I understand that. Bitzitzis, bishvor, tachas habeis. Okay, Mishna Berura says the punctuation is shvor. It's be and not ba. 1 second. Let's see. What's the source? There you go. Rov achronim. The majority of later authorities say that the more correct pronunciation is be rather than ba. Don't know. You know something? If you want to sponsor the next edition, they'll change it for you. Okay. Because again, because everything in many things is the Masorah, what the custom is. Jews have always. I just saw Rabbi Yoshev. I saw it many times, and I smile when I read it. You know, in the seminaries, the girl says Modani, and. So somebody asks Rabbi Yoshev, maybe she should say modeh grammatically is masculine. Maybe in the seminary, the girls they should say modah. She says, "Mit der Besorge wie der Baba das gesagt." That's what he said. The Baba said modeh, didn't say modah. Also, now you want to change it. That's the way you do it. Mishna Berura could say "bi," what it doesn't make a difference. The question is, how did the Zayda say it? He said "ba," we say "ba." That's it, and that's the reason why it's printed.
You always say it to Zayda.
What the Zayda said?
The Zayda probably said "ba."
Said "ba," right, and that's why it's printed "ba." Okay,
What's the difference?
it's just more. It's like we'll see Kaddish. Later we'll see what the laws of Kaddish. Is it Yiskadal or Yiskadel? It's based. One is Hebrew, one is Aramaic. Okay, and Yiskadal is Aramaic. It's a pasuk. Yiskadal.
But the rest of the prayer is...
But I'm just saying. So the Mishna Berura says it's better to say Yiskadel. Mishna Berura says it's better to say Yiskadel rather than Yiskadal. But most people say Yiskadal.
Right.
I'm just because the Mishna Berura says that he says, right? That's why I'm saying so different. So why even Mishna Berura? Because that's what we always said it, Yiskadal. That it would be more refined way of saying it, or correct grammatically, but we don't say it that way. Exactly. Exactly. Don't know. Okay, let's see the Chovos.